Alright, so here Bryce goes, getting himself a Tic Tac, a nice carbohydrate. He chose green apple. Here we go. Alright, his taste buds are tasting it. Alright, so then it turns into a vial, and it will be a very small vial. Tic Tac. Alright, so he eats the carbohydrates and chews it with his mouth. Then saliva is released with salivary amylase and mucus. The salivary amylase digests the cooked starch into maltose. The bolus goes to the back of the throat and we swallow it. There goes a little Tic Tac. Alright, so the cardiac sphincter opens, and when the food reaches the stomach, gastrin is released. Gastrin causes the release of the gastric juices, HCl, mucus, and pepsinogen, which pepsinogen eventually turns to pepsin. The HCl kills the bacteria in the food and creates a pH of 2.5. The stomach mixes the food around. The acid chyme is slowly released into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. Pyloric sphincter opens, and the acid chyme goes down. Alright, so when the carbs enter the duodenum, the hormone secretin is released. Ba-bam. Secretin causes the release of the pancreatic juices. Sodium bicarbonate neutralizes the pH to 8.5, so all the enzymes can work at their optimum pH. And then pancreatic amylase digests the uncooked starch into maltose. Then the maltose moves further down into the smaller intestines. And the intestinal glands release the enzyme peptidases, nucleases, maltase, sucrase, and lactase. Bam, bam, and a bam. The maltase digests the maltose into two glucose molecules. There we go. And the sucrase digests the sucrose into glucose and fructose. And the lactase digests the lactose into glucose and galactose. And the glucose, fructose, and galactose move into the capillaries of the villi. Here we go. The capillaries are attached to the hepatic portal vein, which take the monosaccharides to the liver. The vein to the liver. If the blood sugar is high, the pancreas will increase insulin, and insulin will cause the liver to store the glucose as glycogen. So when blood sugar drops again, the pancreas will release glucagon. Glucagon will cause the liver to release the glucose into the bloodstream. The blood will go to the heart, where it will be pumped to the body cells. And then the glucose will enter the cells and go into the mitochondria. The mitochondria turns the glucose into ATP via cellular respiration. The indigestible waste continue into the large intestines, where the water is reabsorbed and the feces are released from the body when the anal sphincter relaxes. And yeah, you know where that goes from there. Alright, so this time let's pretend the Tic Tac is a big old butter ball, because Bryce likes to eat balls of butter. Alright, so he ate the fat, the lipid, and he chewed it with his mouth. Not that a butterball would need much chewing. Then the saliva is released with salivary amylase and mucus. Then the bolus goes to the back of the throat and we swallow it. There we go. The cardiac sphincter opens, and when the food reaches the stomach, gastrin is released. Ba-bam. Gastrin causes the release of gastric juices, which are HCl, mucus, and pepsinogen. There we go. And HCl kills the bacteria in the food and creates a pH of 2.5, very acidic. Then the stomach mixes the food around. The acid chyme is slowly released into the duodenum through the pyloric sphincter. The pyloric sphincter opens, and the acid chyme goes to the duodenum. When the fats reach the duodenum, 2 hormones are released. Secretin causes the release of the pancreatic juices. Bam. CCK causes the release of bile from the gallbladder and an additional release of the pancreatic juices. Bam. Sodium bicarbonate neutralizes the pH to 8.5 so all the enzymes can work at their optimum pH. Bile emulsifies the fats into small droplets. There we go. The acidic bile is emulsifying the fats into tiny pieces. Alright, so lipase breaks the small fat droplets into fatty acids and glycerol. Okay, fatty acids and glycerol move into the lacteals of the villi. So they move into those guys. Like that. The villi soak them up. And the lacteals are connected to the lymphatic system and take the fatty acids and glycerol to the subclavian vein. So they go up through the small intestine to the liver, through the subclavian vein. Oh, in the shoulder, whoops. Yeah, fats go to the shoulder. And then the fatty acids and glycerol move through the subclavian vein into the vena cava and into the heart. Bum, 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 bum. Heart pumps the fatty acids around the body to be used for insulation, like this scarf, protection from the organs, yep, and energy storage in fat cells. And Bryce doesn't have a lot of fat, so he doesn't need a lot of lipids, obviously. The remainder of the indigestible food continues into the large intestines. There's the indigestible stuff. And then water is reabsorbed from the feces. The feces continue on until the anal sphincter is relaxed and the feces leave the body. Nice.